Today we're going to be planning a UAV flight over an area just east of Toledo, Metzger Marsh. This is our area of interest. So we can't actually connect to the drone because we're not maintaining any connection to the drone at the moment. So we'll hop into the simulator to plan our UAV mission. First thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on our area of interest. Give it just a second. I like using the SenseFly satellite, but you can choose your own. So this is the area that we're interested in right here. First, we're going to disconnect there, and then we're going to reset all of our previously planned waypoints. Now we're working with a clean slate, and we can start planning our mission. So first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to tell eMotion where we're taking off from. And this is something you only have to do when you're in the simulator. When we're out in the field and actually connected to the drone, we'll have a GPS connection, and we'll be able to skip this step. But because we're in the simulator, we'll tell eMotion that we're going to take off right there. Alright, everything looks good. And now we'll go into the mission planning tab. And we start off with this polygon that we can work with. And we're interested in this area right here. So first things first, we're going to check our lateral and our longitudinal overlap in the mapping and mission planning parameters tab. So first thing we want to do is make sure these are both at the same percentage. That looks good. Our lab operates at 75% overlap, so we changed both those to 75. I'm going to save those as the default, and let's check the camera model that we're working with. So we're going to plan a flight for Sequoia. That's our multispectral camera, and that looks good. So we'll save these as the defaults for Sequoia. Now let's go ahead and plan our mission area. Let's have it match up with what we're actually interested in. So I'm going to grab in the bottom right hand corner one of these circles, and that just lets me alter the direction at which our drone's going to operate at, what direction it's going to fly. So right now we're more or less north-south. And if we're encountering strong winds, we can alter this so we're flying more to crosswind, so we have more accuracy with our flight path. But this looks good for now. So let's alter this as much as we can. You see right now we're kind of rigid in what we can do. I'm going to zoom out just a bit too. Maybe zoom in just a bit. Okay, well, I guess this is what we're stuck with. So this looks okay. So we can go, right now we can only alter the rectangle. But let's go to the mission area and change this to polygon. Now I can extend here. I can even insert a vertex here if I'd like. Make alterations there, but we're not really interested in that at the moment. So I can right click on the vertex I just created, and we'll remove that vertex. So now let's extend a little bit this way. And as we notice, when we make extensions in the resulting flight characteristics tab, we can see our flight time as we're making edits. And this is really useful because if your flight time starts to be too extensive, you know you're going to have battery problems. So instead of just having one flight, you might have to do two. Our lab usually operates in between 20 to 30 minutes. So we'll make this right around a 20-minute flight. And we'll extend up in here until we get approximately to 20 minutes. So this looks okay. And move this a little bit. And we want to make sure we capture these areas over here. That looks pretty good. Okay, 22 minutes for our flight time, not bad. That's something we know we'll be able to do with one flight. Okay, so we're 22 minutes. We can scroll down. Any other information? We have total difference, total coverage, or distance, total coverage. number of flight lines and spacing, and some other information as well. So we'll go ahead and click upload. And we can also see that we have, let's go back into the mission planning tab. We can also see that we have, in the advanced parameters, we can give the UAV some wind estimates. And this is very useful when you're flying in anything above 10 knots. One tactic that we employ is to have the drone circle above the home waypoint and then use the current wind estimate. But so that's a useful feature in eMotion. And also, if we click on this tab over here, we have the option to save the mission area into a file, and then we can upload this file later when we're in the field. So we don't have to do any planning when we're in the field. We can do all our planning in the simulator and upload everything when we're in the field. Saves a bunch of time. And we can also load it into a KML file and visualize that on Google Earth. So we're good here. Let's go into the Mission Waypoints tab. And we'll see that everything is being operated below 400 feet of our area of interest. This is within FAA regulations, so we're happy there. Click here. We can see the model of the camera that we're working with. And also in this tab, the camera tab, when we're in the field, we have the option to calibrate. We don't have that option here because we're just working with the simulator. So it should be noted, camera tab, there's a option to calibrate when we're actually connected to the drone, but not in the simulator. So now we'll go over to the flight parameters tab, and we have the working area ceiling at 400 or 600 feet. We're going to set this just above 400 feet. This does not mean that we're operating above 400 feet, but because we're taking pictures at 397 feet taking images, it's possible that for a slight second the drone may exceed 400 feet. And in that case, when it goes above the working area ceiling, it returns home. So we set this just above 400 feet, and if for a slight second while the drone is gaining altitude, it exceeds 400 feet, it won't return home. It'll just dip down below 400, and we don't have to worry about that problem. And then let's drop the working area radius down as well. We'll put that at 2,700 feet. Maybe 2,800. Let's go 3,000 feet. Okay. This looks pretty good. And what the working area radius is anytime the drone comes into contact with the working area radius, which is visualized by this yellow ring, it's going to come back to the home waypoint. So we'll have this just outside of our flight lines. So if the drone, something were to happen, a data download link lost, it comes into contact with this outer ring, and immediately it'll come back to the home waypoint. So this is a precautionary measure. But we make sure all these are good, everything looks okay. All right, and now we'll go into the setup phase tab. So here is where we can make alterations to our landing. Right now we're at circular landing. This is not going to be good for our area of interest. So we'll go into a linear landing. And we'll make the approach, so we're landing on this. This isn't a road, this is more of a path that fishermen and such can travel down. So we'll make this parallel to that path. And now we see it's approaching and going to land right in the middle of the path. The drone is very accurate. We've conducted this flight before. So that looks good. Should be noted that when you take off and when you land, you're going to want to do so into the wind, or at the very least at a crosswind. You never want to land or take off with the wind at your back, because it reduces your accuracy. So this is something that will alter while we're in the field, but for the moment, looks pretty good. Now we'll save the flight plan in the drone. Anytime I alter anything, I save the flight plan in the drone. Anytime I make any alterations. This might be a little over precautionary, but it's better than the opposite of that. And we also see that we have the option to save the flight plan to a file. Now we can save this flight plan in a file, and then we'll be able to upload this flight plan when we're in the field, so there's no planning at all in the field. We can just upload the flight area and the flight plan and start flying right away. So everything else looks pretty good. Can make some, okay. And then we'll go back into this tab. At this point, we're ready to fly.